Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are St. Louis.
This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. And Cardinals baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. A beautiful day here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The roof is open. Nice crowd is gathered. It's game number 2 between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Milwaukee Brewers. The injury bug hit the Cardinals last night here in game 1. Sprained ankle for Matt Holliday. He is not in the lineup today. Michael Wacha takes a comebacker off his back heel. Cardinals were concerned, but he's okay. Trevor Rosenthal unavailable this afternoon, dealing with a hamstring injury. Cardinals will take an extensive look at that. And with Jim Hayes and Al Hrabosky, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Welcome to St. Louis Cardinals baseball. The injuries have added up, but with that, the Cardinals have Carlos Martinez going today, and recently he has been their best pitcher.
Well, he really has. You just give him some run support, and he'd be in double figures in wins. He's going in one direction, a positive, where Chase Anderson, the starter from Milwaukee today, is going the other direction. He can't go deep into a ball game.
So we'll see how it all plays out here this afternoon. Carlos Martinez, Chase Anderson, the Milwaukee Brewers, the St. Louis Cardinals. Day baseball. Get set. It's on Fox Sports Midwest. the call today for the St. Louis Cardinals, and in his career, very good against Milwaukee, whether it be in relief role. Today for the St. Louis Cardinals, and in his career, very good against Milwaukee, whether it be in relief role or certainly as a starter. Last 3 starts against the Brewers, only 1 earned run allowed in 20 innings. Adds up to a .39 ERA. He'll go against Chase Anderson here this afternoon. They're already stretching for the sausage race here in Miller Park. Watch out, baseball comes your way next. Brought to you by Budweiser. This Bud's for you. By Chevrolet. Visit your local Mid-America Chevy dealer for great prices on the all-new 2016 Malibu. And by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. That is a live shot. And what they're doing right now is trying to get the bees off the wall in right field. They've removed some of the fans there. It's just soap and water to try to get them to be removed. There's something on there that obviously has attracted those bees. And that gentleman drew the short straw, and he's got the fun duty of trying to get rid of them. Wow. You ever seen that?
No, I have not, and we need the honeybees.
So we will have a slight delay, we understand, at the start of this game because of this. It was gathering at the pregame show. We could see it. And along with Al Raboski and Jim Hayes, I'm Dan McLaughlin. 76 degrees and bees here at Miller Park in Milwaukee. So just a slight delay. When we get things going, it's Chase Anderson and Carlos Martinez here in game number 2. That poor guy. He's out there doing this. He didn't expect to come to work and be dealing with a swarm of bees out there, but that's his duty today.
Yeah, they didn't seem to be bothering anybody, as they were just sitting on that post on the wall, and let's play baseball.
Easy for you to say that up here, Al. Then the ball hits the right field wall and you got to dig it out of the corner. No thanks.
Well, don't let it be hit there.
Hopefully those bees will be gone and we'll have baseball coming up. We'll step aside. It's the Cardinals and Brewers at some point here in game number 2. Wait for the first pitch and the start of our game. Best record against any single division opponent since 2012. And the Cardinals have really dominated this series against Milwaukee. Remember, they beat Milwaukee in the 2011 National League Championship Series in 6 games. And since then, take it even further what they've done here at this ballpark. They are 27-12, the Cardinals here at Miller Park. And that's a look at your BJC Healthcare difference maker. Well, not much has changed. Soap and water, bees flying around. That poor guy trying to do the job that no one wants. And we wait for our first pitch. Greater coverage of Major League Baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. John Lester getting the start in game 2 against the Pirates tonight. Allowed 8 runs in an inning and a third in his last start. Steven Strasburg last night at the Mets. He picked up a win. He's now 12-0 before the All-Star break. Last to do that, Rube Marquard, 19-12 in the National League. His teammate Max Scherzer did that in the American League, and Scherzer replaces Strasburg on the All-Star roster. Did that in 2013. The Red Sox acquired Brad Ziegler, the closer from Arizona, pitched at Missouri State. Many fans in Springfield, I'm sure, are tuned in today and have an interest with Ziegler. And the Diamondbacks get 2 minor leaguers. Also just announced that Craig Kimbrell will miss 3 to 6 weeks with a knee injury, so they needed a closer and they go out and get Brad Ziegler.
Yeah, I knew he was on the market, and some people were trying to see if the Cardinals would have some interest in Ziegler. Riveting television.
Our director Tom Mee has a shot from 12:45 this afternoon, and just how big this was. So this is 30 minutes ago. We're now at 1:15, and the Bees were forming and forming in a hurry. We had a shot around 12:30 as well. Wasn't nearly that big. So they had Rick Schlesinger, who is the COO of the Milwaukee Brewers, walk out there, take a look. He removed some of the fans from beyond the wall. And surprisingly, they weren't doing anything. The fans were just sitting there enjoying themselves, having a little lunch. And the Bees were all around them, but they did make them move from their seats. I've seen this in spring training in Arizona. And we did have at one point, I remember, Bees in a game with the Cardinals in Arizona, but not to this point to where you had to have a stoppage in the start of this game. Well, that guy will blow up like a Cabbage Patch doll. Hopefully he's not allergic to bee stings. And we'll step aside again. Went right over your head, Al. Garcia will lead it off, followed by Diaz and then Steven Piscotty. Rando Grichuk, Johnny Peralta, first start since Tuesday. Molina, Jerko, Pham, and Martinez. A little bit of a buzzkill not to have this game start on time.
Oh, boy.
It's so bad I had to use it.
Yeah, it is.
Ramon Flores now in right field.
Understand if they're playing a little more shallow.
I don't blame them. And the first pitch to Garcia. We're underway, and it's a strike.
Garcia's been doing a nice job going in for Peralta. Now he's playing second base today.
Pitch taken in, 1-1. He was 2 for 5 in game 1 last night. And has hit well against right-handed pitching, .351. 2 balls and a strike. The Cardinals are 6th in the league in average at .261. 3rd best in runs per game over 5, but that has not been the case their last 5 games. Only 17 runs scored as they try to get their offense back on track. Minus Peralta this week. No Brandon Moss. No Holiday today. No Matt Carpenter.
Well, it's the old step up. Who's going to step up and do the job for an injured player?
Just missed. 3-2.
Creates an opportunity for somebody. And Anderson, who hasn't been going deep in games, last 6 starts, he can't get through the 6th inning.
He's 4-9 this year. Cardinals faced him last Sunday. He allowed 3 runs on 4 hits, issued 5 walks in 4 1/3. Right-handers really have had their way against Chase Anderson at a .331 clip. The lefty's just .204. And it's a leadoff walk. Aledmys Diaz, a modest 4-game hitting streak. We flash back to last weekend. First inning, home run on July 3rd off of Chase Anderson. And Diaz is up to 12 this year. He's driven in 45. Went 1 for 5 last night.
Dan, home runs are an issue for Anderson. He's allowed 17. He's gotten better in his last few starts, but when he is good, he is really good. In his wins, he has an ERA under 1. It's the lowest among all starting pitchers in the major leagues in his wins. And it looks like a tight strike zone, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. You see home runs allowed and what he's done. So 1 shy of last year's total in 70 fewer innings. The 2-0. Diaz skies one into shallow center field. Kirk Nieuwenhuis, who scored the game-winning run last night, under it and makes the catch.
Well, Anderson in his wins has a 0.84 ERA, 3 earned runs in 32 innings. That's the lowest in Major League Baseball among starting pitchers. But in his losses, his ERA is 8.46, the 4th highest among Major League starting pitchers. So he's either very good or not very, or really, really bad.
Here's Stephen Piscotty. Initially, Matt Holliday in the lineup. Saw him come to the ballpark. Was limping a little bit after the sprained ankle last night. And I agree with you, the strike zone is tight. So Piscotty digs in, hitting .291. 11 home runs. He's driven in 47. Leadoff walk to Garcia. Stands at first with 1 out. And the 1-0. The backup catcher for the Brewers is a pretty good defensive catcher in Martin Maldonado. There's been 11 stolen base attempts against him. He has caught 5. Lucroy has the day off. We'll see him back in there tomorrow. Here's a 1-1 pitch to the Cardinals right fielder. Good pick by Maldonado.
Another catcher that idolizes Yadier Molina. Fouls well in front of the plate. Anderson came over from Arizona. He and Aaron Hill were the principals in the Gene Segura trade. And Segura having a very fine year for the Diamondbacks as they moved him from short to second.
As a matter of fact, last year he was second on Arizona's staff. 157 innings. Only went 6-6. Aaron Hill part of that deal to come over to Milwaukee, and he since has been traded to Boston for a couple of prospects. So 3-1, a hitter's count here for Piscotty. Three and 2. Randal Grichuk on deck. After tomorrow, many of the players will scatter around the country and head home. Their off-season homes, some going back to St. Louis. We know one that's headed to San Diego, and that's Aledmys Diaz, the All-Star. 3-2 pitch, runner goes. A high fly ball lifted into right. Battling the bees, the sun, and a high sky. It's Flores, and he makes the catch. Around the Horn is presented by Dobbs. Ryan Braun in left field. Kirk Nieuwenhuis in center. Flores in right. Will Middlebrooks, a third baseman. Jonathan Villar, 2 errors last night, up to 12. Second most at short among National League shortstops. Behind the Cardinals, Aledmys Diaz. Jeanette at second, Carter at first, Maldonado behind the plate.
Brewers are playing much better at home. They are 3 games over 500 for the season at home.
Grichuk jumping up to the cleanup spot. Now, since he was brought back to the major leagues, He's hit pretty well. 6 for 12. Home run in 4 games. Runner at first is Garcia. Short lead and a 1-0 pitch. Two and 0. He falls behind again. Ground ball that's hit to third. It's fair. Backhanded by Middlebrooks, and he makes the play. The Cardinals strand a runner, and Carlos Martinez takes to the mound when we come back. Come in, having won game 1 last night. Walk-off victory. VR, Jeanette, and Braun here in the first, followed by Carter. Then Neuenhuis, Middlebrooks, Ramon Flores, Martin Maldonado, and the pitcher Chase Anderson. That lineup will face Carlos Martinez. And who knows, by the end of the weekend, he might be an all-star, but this will be his 17th start of the year. Record stands at 7-6, a bit misleading, because the Cardinals could have won many of his starts already this year.
Well, just an example, his last 4 starts, he's given up 4 earned runs in 32 innings, and the Cardinals have lost all 4 of those starts. So he's had blown saves by the bullpen, have cost him many, many victories. He should be in double figures in wins.
Ron the Horn is brought to you by Dobbs. Pham in left, Grichuk in center, Piscotty in right, Peralta, Diaz, Garcia, Jerko along the infield, and Molina behind the plate. Carlos very good on the road. 6 starts away from home. He's 4-1 with an ERA under 2.
This has got to be one of his favorite ballparks. Pitches so well in this park that can give up a lot of home runs.
1-1 pitch. Hit out of play. Gave the Brewers their first walk-off win. Jonathan VR last night as he slapped a base hit to left. First walk-off win since May 31st of last season.
Yeah, I saw that. Hard to believe, isn't it?
Usually you walk into one of those. No pun intended, but things over 81 games at home have a way of getting you a chance to have a few of those along the way, even with some of the teams that are the poorer teams in the league. As Martinez works quickly, and it's 2-2.
Martinez was asking for help from the third base umpire. Eventually got it. Didn't like the result, so it didn't go around.
A 2-2 pitch. Ground ball slowly hit to first. Jerko with it. Steps on the bag. League leader in steals is out.
Yeah, it's a real key. Keep him off the bases.
Hyundai pitch arsenal for Carlos Martinez. Fastball, change, slider, and curve. And You know, the defense, we say it a lot, but especially on the infield, has to be good with Martinez. Third highest ground ball rate in baseball at 58%. Only Marcus Stroman, Tyler Chatwood have a higher rate with ground balls this year.
And he's allowed a major league leading 20 double plays. So he'll get plenty of ground balls. Just see how he's matured as a pitcher and sacrifice a little velocity for better command, but then he's kind of gotten into a groove when you see the velocity up there all the time on his four seamers.
Jeanette hitting .267, 2 balls and no strikes. 3-0.
Slow things down, take a little time. Just falling behind the count and reset.
Cardinals coming off a very good outing by Michael Wacha. Cut a little bit short because of the line drive hit off his heel. He says he's all right. As Jeanette hits a fly ball out to deep left. And this ball is off the wall. And Jeanette to second. Thinking about third, he stops there, and a strong throw by Tommy Pham. That's 2 good throws in this series by Tommy. Last night to the plate, and this one to third.
Yeah, we hadn't seen Tommy Pham make those kind of throws. We've seen some high arcing throws that, you know, allowed runners to get into scoring position, but the throw last night to the plate, here this one just kept on carrying. He got too close to it, and it bounced off the bottom, and carries him away from him. But look, he scrambles after it, throws a strike all the way to Peralta to hold Scooter Jeanette for the double.
Jeanette with his 13th double. And it brings in Ryan Braun, who is 4th in the league in average at .318. He's always hit the Cardinals pretty well, and that includes this season. Overall, 18 home runs, 28 doubles, and 134 games against St. Louis.
You know, Dan, he's hitting .306 against St. Louis pitching this year, but they've been able to contain him because he only has 2 RBIs.
Pretty big gap on the right side of the infield, and he's adept at going that way. You throw a pitch on that side of the plate, he'll take it that way. 0-1. No balls, 2 strikes.
I think what makes him so tough for pitchers is the fact that he'll spray the ball around, like you say, it uses all the field. And you make a real blatant mistake to him, he can hit it out of the park.
Oh-2 pitch. Hit up the middle and stopped by the leg of Carlos Martinez and Cal Corrala. A kick save that probably saves a run. And it's runners at first and third with 1 out. And it brings in Chris Kreider, who is 3rd in home runs in the National League. And he's done some damage against St. Louis last night with 2 home runs at this ballpark. 22 on the year. And that's 3rd behind Nolan Arenado with 23, Chris Bryant with 25.
Right, what you got to concentrate on, and Molina out there a long time talked with Martinez, is that he has 109 strikeouts. So you execute your pitches, and you can get him to strike out here with just 1 out and runners at the corners. You make a mistake, you leave 1 out over the plate. He's big, strong, powerful, and he can hit it out of any part of the ballpark.
Pretty good kick save there by Martinez.
Problem was, though, is it looked like he was going to have a sure out at first base if he could have just picked it up. But he misconnected when he reached down to get the ball.
16 of those 22 home runs by Carter have been right here at Miller Park. Well, the last thing the Cardinals need is another injury. They've already lost 4 players to the DL this month. Carpenter, Segrist, Moss, Pena. Then last night we saw Waka, Holiday, Rosenthal, all leaving with injury. So that is certainly the last thing the Cardinals need.
Yeah, but like you said, Waka said his leg went numb, but the more he moved it, he could have pitched last night. But with a pitch count at 97, you know, to get a little treatment on that, but reporting no ill effects today, and that's good news.
1 ball, 1 strike on Carter. He was 2 home runs shy of his total from a year ago. 1-1 pitch. Get the feeling a good slider, good breaking ball can get him.
Well, that's it. You know, he's only going to hit your mistakes, but you make good execution with your pitches, and there's one right there. Never was a strike. You're going to get the strikeout, and that's what he really needs right now.
They shift to the left side of the infield, and a 1-2 in the dirt and blocked by Molina.
Nice block there.
If Milwaukee would win today or tomorrow, that would snap the string of 13 consecutive series won or split by the Cardinals. It's been an amazing run for St. Louis, whether it's at this ballpark or at Busch Stadium. A 2-2 from Carlos Martinez. Struck him out. 110 strikeouts now for Carter, and the 81st for Martinez, 3rd on the staff.
A lot of sliders away. Now they kind of come in on this one and way over the top.
There's New and Ice. Scored the winning run last night. Rosenthal took the loss. What came back to haunt him was the leadoff walk in that 9th inning. Runners at 1st and 3rd.
And even Neuenhuis, as you said, 191 plate appearances, 77 strikeouts. So another guy with that you can pitch to.
Fastball taken high at 97. We've seen Martinez right around 92, 94, but when he wants to reach back and fire it, we've seen triple digits time and again this year.
And I think what's been impressive too is a lot of times you'll see that high octane still late in a ball game.
One-0 pitch from Martinez. Runner goes from first base. Molina, no throw, and a stolen base for Ryan Braun, his 7th. The Brewers have 74 this year now with that stolen base by Braun, and that's the most in Major League Baseball.
Our third base coach talking to Jeanette on the scenarios. Now both runners in scoring position, but as a pitcher, you just concentrate on 2 outs. Get the hitter, and they can't score.
The 2-0. Change up and a good one. At some point, the shadows do become a factor in this ballpark with day games and the roof being open. The sun is shining brightly here in Milwaukee. Beautiful day. Two balls and a strike.
Carlos just has electric stuff. 3 dominant pitches that he can just hitter goes up there and
he walked him. What's interesting here is it brings in Will Middlebrooks, who this season, prior to his call-up recently, 3 grand slams at AAA this year alone.
As that Colorado Springs, where it's almost unfair or tough to judge. Those balls been on a warning track in another ballpark where the air is so rarefied there that the ball flies.
So be careful with Will Middlebrooks. Fastball, a good one at 98 for strike 1. Low has been 85, the high at 98. Big gap in right center. The 0-1 pitch, way outside. So the Brewers have made Martinez work here in this first inning. 26 pitches already. One and 2.
97 in on the hands.
One-two pitch. Check swing, and he went. A strikeout with the bases loaded, and Martinez pitches out of the jam. 2 strikeouts in the inning, sends us to the second, and there's no score. With the MLB.com at-bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment. Game Day Live. All the video highlights, StatCast, and more for your smartphone or tablet. Here's Peralta. Fastball and a strike. He did pinch hit last night late and sent one to the track. Almost got a 3-run homer. He loves hitting at this ballpark. A career .378 hitter here at Miller Park.
He just loves facing Milwaukee pitching. Overall, .345 average against Milwaukee in his career.
Martinez 28 pitches in the bottom of the first as he strikes out 2. No damage done. And Peralta hits it out to deep left center field. It is gone! 1-0 Cardinals on Peralta's 4th home run this year.
He was chomping at the bit yesterday to get in the lineup because of his success against Milwaukee, and in particular here in their home ballpark. Crushes the ball here, and boy, won't it be nice when we get his bat going on a consistent basis. He can carry a team.
So the splash there by Carlos Martinez. That all started when Matt Carpenter last year got on a tear. And that's how it was brought to life. So Carpenter would hit a home run and Martinez would be at the end of that receiving line to cool him off.
Fastball up, and look at that charge. Once that left the bat, you knew it was going over the fence.
And right before that pitch too, Maldonado was asking for the ball up in the zone, did not get up enough.
Yeah, and of course now with that home run, it's 18 on the year, same amount of home runs he allowed last season. He's equaled that today.
If you break it down, he's averaging 2 home runs per 9. This starter, Chase Anderson of the Milwaukee Brewers, and that's in terms of the average, the most per 9 of any starter in the big leagues. A 3-1 pitch to Molina, and he hits it down the left field line and yanks it foul. Yadi had the game-tying home run last night in the 8th inning. Take a look at Al's Toyota keys to the game.
Well, get at least 4 runs. When you give Martinez 4 runs or more, he's 7-1. When you don't give him 4 runs, the team is 0-8. And that's pretty much in general, Dan, with the entire team. The ball club is 40-13 when they score, more than 3 runs. So get some run support and we can get some wins.
Brings in Jed Jerko. Initially he was in the 8th spot in the lineup, and then after the scratch of Holiday he moves up to the 7th spot playing first base. Hitting .236 with 7 home runs. Very short lead at first by Molina. That's fouled back and out of play.
3 for 10 against Anderson, as both of them were in the National League West a year ago. Anderson pitching for Arizona and Jerko with San Diego.
The 0-1. Chase Anderson, prior to every home start, you saw him the back of the mound put in the initials of his father, who has since passed away, also grandparents. But he wears his late father's socks, cowboy boots, belt buckle, jeans, and a polo shirt to remember and honor his father, passed away in 2012. He does that with every home start. Also had the honor of pitching on Father's Day, and he said it was probably the most emotional start he's ever had in his career. One ball, 2 strikes on Jerko. Jerko lifts a high fly ball out to deep right field. Flores is back, and it's off the wall. Molina to third, Jerko to second. And Jed Jerko in with the double, his 3rd this year.
Jerko took an 0 for 3 last night, but he's been swinging a hot bat of late. Get a little more playing time, and he's been responding with some consistent offense. All up over the middle of the plate. Watch Molina. Pretty much right away thought that it was going to get in the gap. He'll come all the way over to third. And with nobody out, the Cardinals have a great opportunity with 2 men in scoring position. Tommy Pham came in late in last night's ball game when Holiday left, and he lined a base hit in that game. We'd love to see one right here.
Tommy Pham. Strike 1. So Pham getting the start in left field. Runners at second and third. Nobody out with Carlos Martinez on deck. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Last year, some Tommy Pham's biggest games came at the expense of Milwaukee. And in his brief career, he's batting over 400, 429, 2 doubles, 2 triples, and 2 home runs against Milwaukee pitching.
Here's a 1-1. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Last 8 games, it's been a struggle for Anderson, as we talked about. His line drive percentage has jumped from 17% to 29% with balls put in play. Walks are also up. He's walked 2 here today.
Ground balls have gone down.
Check swing, and he went. A strikeout of Pham. First strikeout for Anderson. It's a big one.
There he is, Dan, but it's the first out, but now the pitcher spot comes up. Martinez has really helped out, but anytime you see that replay from the side on the check swing, it always looks like you're going to go through.
Well, Martinez has swung the bat well. 9 for 31. That's a .290 average. No home runs. He's driven in 4. A lot of times with Carlos, they'll show bunt, pull back, and swing.
He's got a 4-game hitting streak. So
first pitch to him. Popped up on the infield. Carter. 2 outs. One of the key at-bats already in this game, the strikeout of Tommy Pham.
yeah, and Tommy didn't really look good. He's going to have to expect now he's going to see a lot more breaking balls.
Garcia, small sample size, but .467 his average with runners in scoring position. Walked, left stranded back in the first inning. The first pitch to him. Breaking ball, drops in for a strike.
And you talk about that .467 runners in scoring position, but it's even better. .556, 5 for 9 with runners in scoring position and 2 outs.
They play him in the opposite field. 0-2 the count.
Greg Garcia already this year has shown a lot of people that he belongs here at the major leagues and can hold his own. Used to be more of a question, could he play shortstop, to be a utility man? But we've seen now that he's an outstanding pinch hitter. He has a special knack for getting on base, and he's been delivering.
Time is called. This inning started with a solo home run by Peralta. Molina walked. Jerko, the double off the wall and right. So runners at second and third, nobody out. Pham struck out. Martinez pops out, and now 0-2 the count on Garcia.
Heidi coming down the line and got to Anderson a little bit. He stepped off the mound and backed off.
Nothing in 2. The next by Anderson. Well, Anderson gets out of this inning. All of a sudden, the momentum shifts back to the Brewers, even with the home run by Peralta.
We talked about that last night in a game where they pitched out of a situation, bases loaded the Cardinals, and then Walker gave up 2 solo home runs. Two balls, 2 strikes. And the frustrating thing about last night's ball game is the Cardinals stranded 13 runners. Just couldn't get that big hit with runners in scoring position all night long.
And twice had a runner at third, less than 2 outs, and did not score.
Right.
Garcia trying to extend the inning to Aledmys Diaz. Greg in the leadoff spot in this lineup. The 2-2 pitch. 3-2.
He's starting to. Garcia's starting to show little signs of Carpenter. Where you really don't worry when he gets down in the count early. He'll battle and usually gets, deep into the count, gives himself a much better chance to succeed. Big pitch here.
The 3-2 struck him out. Anderson pitches out of the jam. He does allow the home run to Johnny Peralta, his 4th of the season, RBI number 12. But the Cardinals had runners at second and third. Nobody out from that point forward. Did not score. Cardinals, lot of injuries we've seen this past week. And we'll start, Jimmy, with Trevor Rosenthal. What do we know about the hard-throwing right-hander coming out of the pen?
Well, as you guys mentioned, came out of last night's game with what the Cardinals thought was a cramp or a spasm. Rosenthal still felt discomfort in his left hamstring this morning, so the Cards sent him out to a facility here in Milwaukee to get an MRI. Rosenthal told me he felt something grab on that last pitch he threw in the bottom of the ninth. He was still feeling something this morning. The Cards aren't expecting to get the results of that MRI until around 3 o'clock. They'll know better what the next step is. Then Mike Matheny saying, based on the situation with Rosenthal and his bullpen, you may well see a starter working out of the bullpen at some point today or tomorrow, Danny.
Yeah, it makes sense with the All-Star break here. This is Ramon Flores. And Jimmy, while we got you, how about Michael Wacha? It seems like he's okay after that line drive.
Yeah, just scared because, and I think Al touched on this, got the line drive to the heel. His leg immediately went numb, so he thought it hit me in the ankle. As the feeling came back, he realized it was just the heel. He walked off the field under his own power, and today he said just slight soreness, but nothing major.
Matt Holliday, Jim, initially in the lineup, then scratched. How about his sore ankle?
Yeah, Mike Matheny said that Matt told him the ankle was feeling better and that he thought he was a go, but they wanted to see him during BP, and I guess during BP something didn't feel or look right, Dan.
Well, Martinez has struck out 3 of the last 4. He gets Flores looking. Let's hope that all 3 of those players are going to be okay. It sounds like in Wacha's case, not a big deal. We'll wait word on Rosenthal and Holliday, just a matter of time.
And then, you know, with the 4 days off starting Monday for the All-Star break, hopefully all 4 of them, or all those guys, will be available for the second half.
Here's Martin Maldonado after the strikeout of Flores.
61 average, the backup catcher to Lucroy, but he has 3 home runs.
Here's a 1-1. Martinez just overpowered him. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Not only good velocity, but excellent location. Up and in will tie up most batters.
And the 1-2. inside. Struck him out. 3 in a row. Michael Wacha last night 6 2/3, 5 hits. Second time this year with 8 strikeouts. So one shy of his season high of 9, which he did against Arizona. We talked about the downward plane and the good changeup, and he had both of that going last night.
Yeah, really thought he pitched extremely well. Gave up 3 home runs, and that had not really been a factor for him, giving up home runs. He'd only given up 7 before yesterday's start.
Anderson with a ground ball quickly. 0-2 the count. And Wacha took that line drive off the heel, and everything is all right. The 0-2 pitch to the backstop.
Nothing wrong with being a little effectively wild. Rarely hear that term anymore.
One-two pitch. Strikes out the side here in inning number 2. He struck out 5 of the last 6. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price every day. And by your local Volkswagen dealer. They know how to tailgate here in Milwaukee. They go up to Madison and take in the Badger football games, or Green Bay, or right here in Milwaukee with the Brewers. Diaz, Piscotty, and Grichuk. Cardinals waste a golden opportunity to add to their 1-0 lead back in the top of the second. Runners at second and third, nobody out, and did not score. Diaz, the first Cardinals rookie since Albert Pujols in 2001 to play in the All-Star game. And again, he pops it up. Middlebrooks is over along with Maldonado, and it's out of play. Ledmus came into play this afternoon, 6th in the National League in average at .317. Daniel Murphy at .345 to lead the senior circuit. Speaking of the All-Star game, it was this date 1940, the first of 5 times that St. Louis has been the site of the Midsummer Classic. Most recently 2009. Pujols, Molina, Tony La Russa, Ryan Franklin. Ryan now working in the front office for the Cardinals. 2-1 pitch. And a fly ball lifted into right. Ramon Flores makes the catch. If you can't watch the games on television, you can now stream games live on your mobile device. Just go to your app store and download the free Fox Sports Go app. Log in and stream the Cardinals wherever you go. You just joined us. We had a 9-minute delay the start of our game because of the bees we're collecting on the wall in right field.
Don't seem to be bothering anybody. People move back into that area.
One-0 pitch to Piscotty. 2-0. Steven flied out to right first time up.
These are very important to our ecosystem.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll enlighten me.
Got one I want you to meet real close and personal.
Keep that over there. I don't want to
Hey,
see your bee. Your pet bee. 2-2. Wasn't no part of him, Al. Don't want him around the booth. Don't want to be around him.
Man, you do. You do.
I'm good.
You want him at your house.
Lined into right center. Over to get it. Flores can't get it. Under his glove and to the wall. Piscotty will dig for third. And Steven is in, sliding with his second triple of the year.
Oh, another opportunity for the Cardinals with just one out. And man, 90 feet away from the promised land, touching home plate. This ball really, I mean, almost caught by Scooter Gennett. It was just a little short as it went over his head. And then it was hit so hard that Flores, when he went over there, he was trying to catch it on the dead run, and it got underneath his glove and went all the way to the wall.
Infield is drawn in now for the hitter Randal Grichuk. Grichuk grounded out to third. Big swing and a miss.
One of the things that Randal really needs to work on is his average runners in scoring position. You know, his roommate Piscotty just relaxes in those situations and excels. Randal just has to just relax.
Here's the 0-1 pitch. It's also a recognition of what the pitcher is trying to do to get you out, which Piscotty is so good at thinking through an at bat.
Right, and making those adjustments where Randal, you know, pretty much it looks like they're going to just try and run fastballs in on him, and then when we get 2 strikes, they'll throw those breaking balls away.
So here's the 2 strikes, and we'll see how Anderson approaches Grichuk here. At times, Chase has had a pretty good breaking ball today.
Yeah, and that's really what, when he went down, was really just for pitch recognition. And to stay away from those breaking balls and chasing them out of the strike zone. We've seen him get a couple hanging breaking balls, and those are the ones he's been getting hits on. Back inside.
1-2 pitch. Put in play under the glove of Carter, and a base hit RBI for Grichuk. It's now a 2-0 St. Louis lead.
Dan, that's the way you got to think. You know, you get a little bit of a break there. Carter is not the most gifted fielder. Infield in, the ball scooted underneath him, and get the RBI and base hit. Just kind of build your confidence from there.
So a triple that got under the glove of Flores, and now a single that gets under the glove of Carter. So the RBI, number 29 for Randal Grichuk, and it brings in Peralta. Peralta with 38 hits at this ballpark, 9 have been home runs. Homered back into second for the 4th time this year.
It seems like he just has great confidence in this ballpark.
You talk to hitters, a lot of times it's about even the dirt in the batter's box, the batter's eye. There's a double play ball. VR, Jeanette on the first double play, 6-4-3. The Cardinals, though, add to their lead, a RBI by Grichuk, 2-0. Even though the double play went the Brewers' way, Craig Counsell asked them to come out and take a look.
I thought Grichuk went in very hard, and his momentum probably would have carried, but they completed the double play anyway, so what's the deal?
I'm assuming that this is about Grichuk and his slide into second base.
Well, and I think looking at that, maybe the question is from Mike Matheny is, you know, was he on the base? I understand Mike Matheny came out first, but I didn't realize that. Is the second baseman, Scooter Gennett, on the base when he receives the ball?
But I don't think it was Mike that was asking for.
Yeah, that's what would throw me off, but our director, Tom Mee, thought that Mike Matheny had initiated the conversation with the umpire.
Okay, so Matheny did initiate this, then Counsell in for the clarification.
And I thought it was kind of borderline to where, you know, Grichuk would have stayed on the bag.
We just saw one of these types of plays back home in St. Louis with Ned Yost when he decided to challenge late after both teams have been in the dugouts. Oh, wow. So the man at second is safe. So the Cardinals, after heading out to their positions, go back in the dugout, and now the Brewers have to go back out and take to the field.
Well, nobody ran to the bathroom during that time. But the question is he on the bag? Looks like the foot comes off, and then he's straddling the bag. So say Grichuk is at second base. 2 outs. 6-4-3 to get the out on Peralta, but Grichuk is safe.
Set the fact that this was called so late. Just again to tell you about the replay rules, the manager has 10 seconds basically to wave down the umpire to say we're going to take a look at it, then 30 seconds from that point to make a decision as to whether or not you want to replay.
And remember, it happened to us in Kansas City. Well, it happened to Milwaukee when they were at home in that same time span. So this happened twice to Milwaukee.
So puts a man in scoring position for Yadier Molina, who walked back in the second inning. So we're still going here in the top of the third. Pick off, Maldonado's throw, safe. Wouldn't it be something you replay this and then he's out?
Well, the throw beat him, but it looked like he got his left hand in before the tag was initiated by the shortstop VR. And they're looking to see Pat Murphy, who is Council's college coach at Notre Dame. Much left hand, so you put the tag in there. He didn't. His left arm went around the tag.
He may have tagged the dirt and missed his arm, but if he dropped the glove where the arm was, I think he would have been out.
Yeah, I mean the throw beat him. But sleight of hand by Grichuk. High throw. By the time he gets down there, he's waiting for him to slide into the tag, but he got him in the chest, and the left arm was on the base.
Here's a 2-1. Molina hits it foul. Mention how the shadows do become a factor at this ballpark in day games, roof open. That's the case right now for the hitter. Two balls, two strikes with 2 outs and a runner at second base. 2-0 the lead. Folks in the truck had a chance to look at when Mike Matheny decided to challenge the call. It was 20 seconds after the ruling of a double play on the field.
Just make you wonder if the video guys kind of alerted the bench to that possibility.
3-2. You think about it too from Chase Anderson's point of view. He shut it down for that third inning. He thinks I made a good pitch, get the double play. Now all of a sudden you're back out there and facing Molina.
That's a good point, Dan. And not that he would shut down, thinking his day was through, but at least that inning was through. You kind of go in there, you casually are trying to relax, prepare for your next inning.
And it's a walk. Third walk issued by Anderson.
And that's the other aspect for it, is all of a sudden the pitch count gets up there when extended at bat, and who knows? Jerko hit a double the first time up. He's got 2 men out there now.
Jed doubled off the wall in right field. This inning, the Cardinals picked up a triple by Biscotti. Infield drawn in. Ball that got under the glove of first baseman Chris Carter. Base hit for Grichuk, RBI. We thought he was erased on a double play. Instead, he's standing at second base. Molina at first, and now Jed Jerko. Ball 1. It's a real fine line with that neighborhood play at second base, of exposing the fielder to a hard slide like Grichuk, or do you call him out? That's hit down the left field line and pulled foul. mean, 100 out of 100 times before replay, that's a double play.
Oh, no doubt about it. You know, in the neighborhood, didn't have to really touch the bag. You didn't have to do this or that, and just both sides accepted it. But now with replay, you do have to stand on that bag. You got to hold the tag on a runner.
You just get concerned that someone's exposed, and you know, before somebody gets seriously hurt trying to break up a double play. Jericho in the hole, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Two and 2.
Effort to avoid players getting injured, they sissify the rules. They're probably going to get somebody hurt just because of, you know, they're just going through the motions now.
Two and a late swing by Jericho and a strikeout. The third this afternoon for Chase Anderson. Leaderboard. Carlos Martinez atop this list. Fewest hits per 9 innings. It's impressive right there. Under 8.
Dan, Carlos's last 3 times he's pitched here in Miller Park has been outstanding. He's faced 82 Milwaukee batters prior today with only 1 run allowed, and that was a Chris Davis home run. He's no longer with the Brewers. 1 earned run in 23 innings, a 0.39 ERA in those last 3 starts here.
All-Star game is Tuesday. It's VR, Jeanette, and Braun. When the starters were originally brought up, you thought, well, Clayton Kershaw would start. Well, he's on the DL. Strasburg won't pitch as a precaution. Madison Bumgarner can't pitch because he goes tomorrow. Max Scherzer replaced Steven Strasburg. Bartolo Colon replaced Bumgarner. And Noah Syndergaard left his game last night. He topped out at 93. He normally is around 98 to 100. That's hit the other way by VR. Pham quickly back into the infield, holding him to a single. And the point of what I'm bringing up is maybe you could see a guy like Martinez replacing somebody.
I think Colon has been named
mentioned
as
that, yeah. So Scherzer has been added, Colon added. And what about Carlos Martinez?
You see the 2.90 ERA. I just think he's victimized from the lack of success by his team. You know, some blown saves.
We understand that Drew Pomeranz of San Diego, hometown team, has just replaced Syndergaard.
Yeah, that's, you kind of get into that situation where
he's had 17 starts, ERA of 2.47. Jeanette trying to bunt. He doubled off the wall in left field, first time up.
I mentioned that Martinez has had some blown saves that cost him a couple victories. Martinez, the last 4 starts, he's only allowed 4 earned runs in 27 innings, a 1.33 ERA. But the bullpen in those last 4 starts has allowed 10 earned runs in 11 innings pitched, over an 8 ERA, costing him some victories.
Here's an 0-1 pitch by Martinez to Scooter Gennett. Hit down the left field line and out of play. Nice crowd on this Saturday afternoon here at Miller Park, one of the bigger crowds we've seen in quite some time.
Martinez has 5 strikeouts. The other out recorded was a ground ball to first base, but remember, he has 20. He's induced 20 ground ball double plays this year to lead the National League.
Here's the 0-2. Runner goes. And no throw by Molina as the ball get out of the glove, and Villar picks up stolen base number 30. Stole third base last night.
Watch Molina as he's gets a high delivery and just doesn't hold on to it. Went to throw it. Villar, head first slide and looking in. That's the second steal Milwaukee's had today.
So the runner at second, the other was by Ryan Braun. Nobody out. And a 1-2 pitch. Really changes the at bat to an extent by Gennett. With the runner at second base, you're looking to drive him in, of course, but at least hit it to the right side.
At the very least, you allow the burner to go to third. We call it productive out.
And he struck him out. Drops to a knee, and that strikeout number 6 for Martinez. So here's what you're talking about. Last 4 starts for Carlos Martinez. He's given up 4 runs, ERA of 1.33, but the bullpen, a lot of issues. Seven outs recorded by Martinez, 6 with a strikeout. Ryan Braun, strike 1. By the way, that was the 3rd time that a play has been called against the Brewers and not ruled in their favor, with a double play at second. 3 times on Scooter Gennett. Reds, Mets, and today. Here's an 0-1 pitch to Braun.
Like Scooter's still playing by old rules.
Scooter better adjust.
Yeah. Hasn't been around the league that long.
0-2 on Braun, and Martinez very sharp here today. 6 strikeouts. He's got Braun in the hole, 0-2. That slider has been very effective. Time is called. And now Molina wants to talk.
It's like they couldn't get together on what Martinez wanted. They go out and talk to him. Time last night, you know, he said sometimes that Yadi will give you a series of signals instead of putting them down. It has not been uncommon for the catcher to go out and tell the pitcher, okay, we're going to throw this pitch, and by the time he gets back behind the plate, he forgot what he told him. I don't think that happens with Yadi. I don't think it happens with O, but
0-2 pitch to Braun. Struck him out at 7 for Carlos Martinez. The Kia in the driver's seat. Take a closer look at some of the numbers here with Carlos Martinez and just how well he has pitched this year. ERA leaders for the starters, and Carlos hit 2.90 at the start of play today.
We talk about Adam Wainwright being the ace, and rightfully so over long term, but when you really look at the ace this year, it's Carlos Martinez.
Here's Carter, who takes a ball low. Mention it all or nothing here with Carter. He struck out for the 110th time back in the first. He has 67 hits this season. 38 have gone for extra bases. That's 57%. Runner at second is VR. 2 balls, no strikes. It's no disrespect to the Brewers here. They're trying to rebuild, but you get through, say, Braun and Carter. I mean, you look at Neuenhuis, Middlebrooks, Flores, Maldonado, the pitcher spot. You should be able to pitch and have success more times than not.
And Dan, that's what you do as a starting pitcher. You look at that lineup and you say, okay, this guy can maybe give me some problems, but here's my outs.
The 2-0, VR is running, throw down to third, and safe. Another stolen base, his third in this series. He's up to 31.
And you hope Peralta is okay as he drops the ball. Here he takes off, the major league leader in steals, and you see the throw.
That ball's caught, he's out.
But he couldn't hold on to it, and then you saw him take the glove off.
Again, I've got a question. Why is he stealing third base with 2 outs and a guy that can knock it out of the park and tie the game?
Because he's a selfish player. Yeah, sure, there's more ways to score from third base, but our point is, and use Lou Brock, the great Lou Brock, as an example. And Lou would never steal. 938 bases. Danny, with your great research, only 21 times he stole third base out of those 938 because he felt like he was in scoring position at second base. Any base hit he was going to score on. Watch throw a wild pitch.
3-2 pitch. Taken high. And to further our point, I mean, base hit with his speed, he's probably going to score.
No doubt, especially with 2 outs. As you're saying, big lead. You could almost be an umpire with your lead at second base, and you see a pitch in the middle of the strike zone, almost take off.
Second walk issued by Martinez, and now it's Neuenhuis. Runners at first and third. There's a strike. Pitch count is at 62, only in the third, but you could see with the All-Star break coming up that Mike Matheny may extend him in this game.
Yeah, I don't think you really care that much too. As VR came way down the line, see how far Peralta is off the first base bag, so he was coming down more than halfway, and Martinez did the right thing, just step off.
Here's the 0-1.
But that's the curse of all the strikeouts. 7 strikeouts and 2 walks will get that pitch count up. But Martinez, just that very good athlete, bounces back quickly, and I think you let him go a little longer than most.
Here's a 1-1. 2 balls and 1 strike. Inning started with a base hit by Villar to left. And a couple of stolen bases. He's at third. Strikeout of Jeanette and Braun. Walk to Carter. And a 2-1 pitch. Blew it by him at 98. Missouri Lottery Fox Tracks. Good old-fashioned hardball.
And Martinez really gets a lot out of that maximum delivery. But remember, he's under control now, not falling to first base like he used to when he was relieving.
2-2, runner goes, and a base hit into right. Villar will score. They start the runner, that's Carter, and he winds up at third. It's now a 2-1 game.
That's also the curse, too, when you get to that running count and they can send that runner, and Carter goes all the way to third base on that single. Derek Lilliquist will come out and talk to him right down the middle.
You saw him fall off to that first base side, and you were talking about that he doesn't need to do that. And there's a couple of the scouts here at the ballpark, and I was asking them about Martinez, and they said he really, it doesn't add the velocity to fall off to the first base side. Now, it may feel like it does, but he doesn't need to do that. Just direct to the plate.
If anything, it cuts off your pitch, and you kind of have a tendency to get underneath it a little bit. When you're driving straight to the maximum, right to the plate is where you're going to get your body behind it.
Will Middlebrooks, runner goes. They're running on Yachty today. Throw down to second and safe. 4 stolen bases by the Brewers here this afternoon. Neuenhuis with his 7th this year. There had only been 2 attempts against Martinez when he's on the mound all season long.
Well, the Brewers, they lead the major leagues in steals, and they're putting on a show.
It's now 77 for the Brew Crew.
And you'd have to think that they're getting these big jumps off of Martinez.
Cardinals taking a look at it. They will not challenge. Runners at second and third. First pitch was a strike to Middlebrooks, who came up with the bases loaded back in the first and struck out to end that threat.
I mentioned the scouts are in the stands. Well, those scouts are paying attention to all these steals too.
There were 41 trades last year in the month of July. As we near the trade deadline, we're starting to see some activity here recently. Most stolen bases in a game against Yadier Molina, 4. It's been done 3 times. And one of those 3 here this afternoon.
A long time since you can remember a team running on them like this, though. And most of the time, you steal off the pitcher.
Not 70 pitches already.
Yeah.
Martinez has recorded 8 outs.
A lot of strikeouts, a couple walks, and a lot of deep counts. It's been part of it too, running on 3-2 counts.
He walked him. Third walk issued by Carlos.
Got the second out in this inning, and since that, an RBI base hit and a couple walks. Flores struck out the first time up.
So the second time today, the Brewers have the bases loaded. Martinez working from the windup. And the first pitch. Ball 1.
I talked early in the game about a tight strike zone, and Martinez was having no trouble dealing with it until this inning.
Lined up the middle, backhanded by Garcia. Oh, and the pick by Jerko at first. That saves 2 runs. Remarkable play. Garcia to Jerko to save those runs. Brewers taking a look at it, and if it stands, it's an unbelievable defensive play here for the Cardinals. Garcia robbing Flores, and then Jed Jerko at first base to stay on the bag. Wow! And the Cardinals stay in the lead. It's 2-1. Sensational play. And Jerko should get a lot of credit too at the pick, and then staying on the bag at first, and that ends the threat for the Brewers. It's 2-1 St. Louis as Pham looks at a strike.
Through the first 3 innings, both teams have missed opportunities. Cardinals are stranded 5, Brewers 6.
Both starters have walked 3. Martinez has struck out 7 today. Anderson has struck out 3. Cardinals picked up 1-0 lead on a solo home run by Johnny Peralta, and then 2-0 on an infield hit by Randal Grichuk to score Stephen Piscotty, who had tripled And the Brewers come back with an RBI single by Kurt Nieuwenhuis to score Jonathan Villar. And Anderson walks his fourth man. Let's go back to this play. The AT&T high-speed replay of the afternoon.
Looked like he was going to go up for a base hit. He gets to it. Then he scrambles his feet, makes the wide throw, and look at Jerko. Does a great job to get that and keep his foot on the bag, like you said. Martinez loves that one. Not surprised that he walked the first man. Not about Anderson. That was a long time he was in the dugout.
Martinez bunts it foul for strike one.
He's a better hitter than Bunner.
The Cardinals had nobody out, runners at second and third back in the second inning, did not score. So they've had missed opportunities in this game. Brewers twice have had the bases loaded, and they have not scored.
Martinez has a 4-game hitting streak, 5 for 9 during that time. He had 2 hits in his last start. When he pull that bat back and do the butcher boy.
He's swinging and hits a fly ball out to left. Braun is back near the wall and makes the catch. Pham tagging from first to second and in there safely. Good base running by Tommy Pham.
Now when you do the butcher boy, you got to hit down on the ball, but sent that one a long way, and Tommy Pham recognized it's going to be caught. Well, went a long way for an off-balance swing like that. And Pham saw it was going to be caught, got back to the bag, and was able to advance.
6 is a serious number and on the run when the Cardinals score 6. Any size drink just 50 cents the next day. That's coffee, fountain, frozen drinks. When they score, you pour. At your nearest on the run, you earned it. 1 out, man at second is Tommy Pham. Greg Garcia with a walk, and he is struck out. First pitch taken for a ball. Home plate umpire is the crew chief, Ted Barrett. Gabe Morales down at first. Lance Barksdale at second. Will Little is at third. Numbers for Greg with runners in scoring position, and a look at your umpires.
And I don't know about you, but we're seeing Garcia play a lot more this year on a frequent basis, but he's really showing that he can do some stuff at this level, defensively, offensively.
Especially for me defensively. I think we've always felt he could hit. He's shown that, but defensively, I think the Cardinals felt at times he could be a liability.
Yeah, and that was, I mean, there was no doubt about it. There was really a big question mark. Could he play at this level defensively?
Filled in for Diaz when he was hurt, then Peralta, and now he's at second base as Maldonado wants to visit.
I think he's shown to me that, last year he was the Cardinals' best pinch hitter. Still really didn't do much. He just had a knack for getting on base. And now with his ability to drive in runners and score in position, showing he's a nice little player. And kind of a perfect Cardinal player that knows how to play the game right, also knows his role, when he's not in the lineup.
Reminds me of Daniel Descalso a little bit.
And, and I'm thinking the same way. And, a guy like Descalso is a winning ball player.
Two and two the count on Greg Garcia. Runner at second is Tommy Pham. Big gap in right center. Stays alive, spoils the pitch. Get the feeling this will be a game that's decided once again by bullpens. Chase Anderson at 82 pitches.
Yeah, that's a good point, Dan, and with Rosenthal and the uncertainty about the extent of his injuries, you have to believe he's not going to be available, even if he got good news on the scan available today, and maybe even the rest of this weekend.
On the inside corner, and Garcia is down on strikes. 4 strikeouts for Chase Anderson.
The ball looks inside, according to Fox Tracks, but Barrett brings him up.
So 2 outs, runner at second, and it brings in Diaz. Fly to center and fly to right, 0 for 2.
And a home run off Anderson last weekend in St. Louis. I'd like to see him get a couple hits to take him, go on to the All-Star game in a positive way.
Want to know the count. Pace of this game, they may run out of food here at Miller Park.
We'll stay all night for a Cardinal victory. Dan, you were talking about the shadows and now home plate, pitcher's mound in the shadows, but it looks like it probably the pitcher releases the ball in bright sunshine. That can't be easy, can it?
No, sir. 1-2 the count.
I don't know how much those shadows were factored in when they designed this butterfly roof.
Just missed. 2-2. Plaza Tire Service, Fox Tracks. The 2-2 pitch. In the dirt and kept in front by Maldonado. So a chance here for Aledmys Diaz. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Stephen Piscotty is on deck.
Ram could 2 outs, 3-2 count. Really look in and get a good jump if he sees. If you see the ball in the strike zone or a guy starting to swing, you can take off, but the ball high, so it's the 5th walk. Wow. I said how Anderson can't get through the 5th inning in recent starts. He may not get to the 5th inning in this one.
A 2-1 St. Louis lead. Pitch to Piscotty. If you're giving up home runs and you're walking everybody in the ballpark, probably won't stay in a rotation.
No. Like I said, you know, he's got a big arm, and when he wins, he's very, very good. ERA under 1, but in his losses, his ERA is over 8.
0-1 pitch. Throw down to second. And Pham back in there safely. Gives you an idea of what we've seen today. Maldonado, good defensive player, and loves to show off the arm. Second time he's tried to pick off a runner at second base. No activity yet for the Brewers. 91 pitches on the day. Anderson is due up second, looking ahead to the bottom of this 4th inning. The 0-2 pitch to Piscotty. In the dirt. You know, if Martinez would have hit that home run, does he take the cup and then just throw it
himself?
Yeah. You think that's what would happen?
That or every
I was going to say
every
everybody.
player
Right.
douse him.
They'd run a hose from the clubhouse.
Let's hope we see that.
Be fun. 2-2. And Piscotty strikes out. So 5 today for Chase Anderson. Cardinals lead 2 on. They've left 6 in this game, and it's 2-1. Cardinals lead.
Danny Carlos Martinez pitching well today. Came into today's game on a roll, 3-1 over his previous 7 starts with an ERA of 1.46 and a WHIP of 1.05. I had a chance to talk to Carlos for the pregame show today, and he told me the biggest change with him, in his view, not mechanics, rather maturity. He told me he's able to keep calm now, and he also understands when it's time to reach back and try to get something extra on a pitch. And then I asked him how a guy who likes to keep things loose around the team balances maturity with having fun. He told me for 4 days he makes sure his teammates are loose and having fun during games. On the 5th day, all business.
What else stood out in that interview? Because I know that you were visiting with Carlos with the translator, so he felt more comfortable in that interview. What stood out for you?
Just how he feels. He's on the verge of being a veteran now, and that he's not a kid anymore, and that, you know, he still has to learn and get better, but he feels he's beyond some of the stuff he dealt with early in terms of maturity. I asked him about hitting. You know, he came in hitting .290, and I said, that's better than anyone in the starting rotation. Do you hear about it? And he told me he does. I said, are you the best hitter? And he had a look on his face like, yes, I am, but he didn't come out and say that, Dan.
The translator for the Cardinals right there. Alexandra on the right, Noboa. Every team now is required by Major League Baseball to travel with a translator to help the Latin players and communicate with the media and make sure that their message is being sent out and gets out properly in what they're trying to express.
I think it's a great idea. A lot of times we're will shy away from some of the players and don't give them their due because of a language barrier. So at least this way they all feel like they can get recognized.
And a walk to Jake Elmore, who is the pinch hitter for Chase Anderson, following the ground out by Maldonado. Fourth walk issued by Martinez. A good example of that would be Aledmys Diaz. Now, he speaks pretty well in terms of his grasp on the English language, but when we started talking about defecting from Cuba, he wanted the translator there to make sure that the message was clear and that he expressed himself properly.
And I think it'll help them with their English also.
Time is called, and we're at the top of the lineup. VR with a couple of steals. Now up to 31 for today for the Brewers. Walked and scored back in the third and also grounded out to first.
And when he grounded out to first to start this ball game for the bottom of the first inning, that was the 400th inning for Martinez.
Pitch count for Carlos at 81. He has struck out 7 on the day to go along with 4 walks. Cardinals have left 7 on. The Brewers 6.
Been 9 walks between these two pitchers. He said it looked like a tight strike zone, and I think that reflects on that strike zone.
Ball, 1 strike. Two and 1 on Jonathan VR. Taps it foul. Wonder how Bob Uecker is entertaining the home folks on radio today. He's got plenty of time to tell stories.
You're saying this pace of play is a little slow?
It's part of the strike zone. There's Bob. The 2-2 pitch. The thing is, though, you talk about pace of play and you ask anybody in this ballpark, are you being bored by this game? And they would probably say no. We're at the ballpark. It's a beautiful day. We love it. But when you're trying to engage younger fans in a quick pace society, game's got to move. 3-2 pitch. Double play. Out there, out there. It's a double play. Strikeout number 8 for Carlos Martinez. They were trying to pick up the 5th stolen base this afternoon. Thank you, he says. Milwaukee Brewers, this is our Chevy call to the pen. There's Jacob Barnes, a right-hander. 13th appearance, takes over for Chase Anderson.
He last pitched in St. Louis on Sunday. 2/3 of an inning, allowed a hit, a run, and it was an unearned run. He also allowed an inherited runner to score. He made his major league debut on June the 3rd at Philadelphia, tossing a perfect 8th inning with a couple strikeouts.
Fouled back by Randal Grichuk as an RBI single today. The 0-1 pitch. Popped up to the right side. Carter going out along with Jeanette. It's the second baseman, and he makes the play. So Grichuk is 1 for 3. Do you agree with my assessment of the pace of play?
Yes. Yeah, I think you're right. Everybody's enjoying a beautiful sunny day here. They're seeing a lot of base runners. Not seeing a lot of timely hitting.
But one of the main things that Rob Manfred, we were at a conference with all the Fox affiliates that he talked about as Johnny Peralta digs in, is the fact that he's trying to get this game younger. And when you compare it to hockey and football and basketball to an extent, at times the game can seem slow. Me personally, I love it. I don't want to change it. I would like to see pitchers get the ball and throw it. I'd like to see the strikes called and not a tight zone to move the game along. But this is a beautiful game, man. And if you were born and raised watching it like we all have been, you love it.
Well, and I think we can appreciate a one-run game. You know, a pitcher's duel where some people don't, you know, they want to see all the runs scored and they want to see all the action. But there's nothing more beautiful than every pitch may determine the outcome of the game.
Like this pitch here, Yellowwood bringing the lumber. Johnny Peralta with a solo home run back in inning number 2. 4th of the season as he's driven in 12 this year. And strikes out. First strikeout for Barnes.
I was looking at their pitching coach. They got a new pitching coach this year, Derek Johnson. And never played professional baseball, but quite a college coaching career. He was at Eastern Illinois University. Former left-handed pitcher. There he is right there. And then he went to Vanderbilt. Very successful at Vanderbilt. Guided 11 pitchers to the major leagues there.
Good fastball here by Barnes. 96. Oh, 0-2 pitch to Molina. Pitch at 98.
Look at Barnes, you kind of look at his build and his lower legs, and that's where he gets a lot of his velocity. That leg drive and how much he uses his body.
What do you think? Maybe a blessing in disguise that Molina is not an all-star and gets that time off?
I do. You know, there's always a silver lining, and I think that is the one. He'll get 4 days off. Carrying 3 catchers now, but ever since we're carrying 3, Yadi's made a start every day.
You think about spring training, he didn't start swinging a bat till 3 weeks in, and that was just off the tee. Cardinals thought behind the scenes he would begin the season on the DL, and now you look up and he's leading all of baseball in innings caught. hit out of play.
He wants to play every day. And he's in there every day.
Playing a Beatles song, and my understanding is Paul McCartney was at the team hotel last night. I'm sure a huge music
You didn't
buff.
get my invitation?
I did not. Outside and low to Molina. Played here last night. Summerfest happening here in Milwaukee. A lot of things to do.
They have a short summer up here, don't they?
Indeed. Strikes out 2 in the inning. We head to the bottom of the 5th. And the Cardinals on top by the score of 2-1. Coverage of baseball. A look at the home run derby and the seedings for the derby. It's hard not to pick, in my mind, Giancarlo Stanton for that derby. If I was the Marlins, I'm not so sure I'd want him in that, because you hear from players all the time, they say that it wasn't necessarily good for their swing, gets them out of whack, they get tired. And Stanton is just starting to get on track.
Yeah, I think that's it. He's just starting to hit home runs, and you know, the injury factor that he's had over the years, you don't want anything to set him back. And they're also, they're vying for a wild card spot.
Back-to-back changeups to Scooter Gennett.
I don't think I've ever seen any manager that's disappointed that his star player has decided not to compete.
How much further can Martinez go in this game? Pitch count at 89. He struck out 8. He's walked 4. And now he has struck out 9. Major League Baseball All-Star Game coming up on Fox. That'll be Tuesday. Baseball's biggest stars Tuesday, 6:30 from Petco Park in San Diego. Futures game coming up. Alex Reyes will be featured in that contest, #1 prospect for the Cardinals.
Also Carson Kelly. They won a Gold Glove, minor league Gold Glove, meaning he was the best catcher defensively in the entire minor league systems. All minor league systems.
That's right. Each position gets one minor leaguer awarded a Gold Glove. Randall Grichuk did that in the minor leagues. Here's Braun, who struck out and also singled off the leg of Martinez. Lines it foul. What a play there by used to be a security officer down there. And I'll tell you what, he needs to rub it a little bit. That was a hard hit ball, and he's showing his brute strength down there by the crowd. Don't mess with that guy. There you go, young lady. No big deal. Two and two with one out and nobody on. Foul ball. Matchup tomorrow, Mike Leake and Junior Guerra. Guerra's been a nice surprise for Milwaukee. He is 6-1, throwing hard. And Mike Leake 5-7 in his first year with the Cardinals. And he strikes out Braun. That's 10 today for Carlos Martinez.
Now you're getting close to his career high, which is 11. Backup breaking ball and everything, but most of the time that could be an effective pitch. Start going away, it kind of backs up and comes in on a right-handed batter.
And Carter is hit by the pitch.
Throw that ball out, it's probably dented.
Yeah, that's one guy you don't want to upset.
Yeah, doesn't really move too much. He took it right above the elbow. And where's Tommy Pham when I need him?
Well, the most strikeouts Martinez had this year, 8. He did that twice. Back on May 1st. That was against Washington at home. Also against these Brewers back on May 30th. So 10 strikeouts here today.
And he struck out 11 his last season against the Dodgers.
0-1 pitch. Now 0-2.
He's in position right now to tie his career high in strikeouts at 11.
Just got a piece. Changeup as we've gone along in this game has been a very effective pitch.
Right at 100 pitches right now. Look at the first inning where he had 28 pitches. Struck out the side, but he also stranded the bases loaded. He's done that twice in this game. And then when you talk about his ability to throw triple digits, and then you have that great changeup with the same arm angle, you know, you're going to get a lot. You're going to fool a lot of hitters, and I would think Neuenhuis would be a perfect candidate for the changeup that you just shook off once the fastball away.
Two and two the count. No activity in the Cardinals pen. Maybe the final inning of work for Martinez. Due up third. Pitch count at 102.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt he's going to finish this inning, but might be able to go further. Didn't want the changeup again, wants the slider.
And he struck him out, strikes out the side. 11 strikeouts in 5 innings today for Carlos Martinez. Adam Wainwright getting that final out of the 2006 World Series. Our anniversary celebration presented by Budweiser is coming up. Marlins will be in town the 15th, 16th, and 17th. Kicks off a 10-game homestand for the Cardinals. And all you have to do is head to cardinals.com/promotions. Saw Mark Mulder there. I wonder if he'll be back for that celebration. Pitched in the very first game ever at Busch Stadium 3.
Hit a home run.
That's right.
In that game also, right?
Here's Barnes pitching in his second inning in relief of Chase Anderson. Jed Jerko at the plate. And a ground ball that stays fair. Backhanded by Middlebrooks. Nice play.
You were correct. Middlebrooks was with Boston and was involved in that controversial play, the obstruction play at third base with Alan Craig.
It was in game 3 of the World Series as Lyons is getting loose. First obstruction call to end a World Series game. Pham, BR, Carter. Nice play. Good defense here in the 6th. Fielder illegally hinders a base runner running within the base path. That is obstruction, and here it is. Jay with the ground ball. Pedroia, great play. And then Saltalamacchia threw it away. And right away, Jim Joyce made the call. Dana DeMute behind the plate. He called him safe because it had already been called down at third. John Farrell went nuts, but later admitted it's the right call.
How about the fact that our home plate umpire, you know, you see, you got the plate evolving and coming home, and yet he called him safe right away, even though he was out, because he saw the call at third.
Adams, the pinch hitter, lifts a fly ball out to deep left. There's Braun, and a 1-2-3 for Barnes. 6 up and 6 down out of the pen. 2-1 Cardinals. That's Friday is providing 30,000 fans ages 21 and older. The sixth Stein in the Cardinals Championship Series. This year's Stein highlights the 10th anniversary of the '06 World Championship team. Tickets available at cardinals.com/promotions. So Carlos Martinez with 11 strikeouts and gives way to Tyler Lyons.
Tyler didn't have much time to warm up in the bullpen, as that was a really quick top of the sixth inning. So you really got to concentrate on those 8 warm-up pitches. His 26th appearance. He has been so good of late. Keykeeper being sent down to the minor leagues, with Segrist now on the disabled list with illness, mononucleosis. Now you see they're talking about over 100 pitches, so you only get through 5 innings, but they were pretty special 5 innings.
Here's Middlebrooks to face Lyons, underway here in the bottom of the 6th. So he ties his career single game high in strikeouts with 11 and walks. That was done in the same game against the Dodgers and matches that here today.
Yeah, 4 walks today, also a hit batter for Martinez. But he stands to be the winner if the bullpen can save it. You can ask multiple innings from your only left-hander in the bullpen.
Two balls and a strike on Middlebrooks.
He's got a real good breaking ball. Good bite to it. Late. Spots his fastball well.
Curveball again, 2-2. Monday pitch Arsenault, we highlight really the breaking ball and slider, curveball, whatever you want to call it, at 36% of the time.
Or even call it a slurve, but it's got good bite to it.
So the Brewers have struck out 12 times. Nice start for Lyons. Middlebrooks 0 for 2 with a walk with 2 strikeouts.
Dan, we've talked about it several times, but Tyler Lyons has good stuff, and he would be starting on a lot of other club staff. And he's getting more and more important assignments. Kind of with that bullpen, the way it's in flux.
High fly ball off the bat of Flores. Piscotty is there, out number 2. Well, Carlos Martinez strikes out 11 here this afternoon. 5 innings, 4 hits. Stands out the 11 strikeouts for Carlos.
With that, you get your pitch count way up, 11 strikeouts, and talked about 4 walks. But he continues to just dominate the last several games, and particularly in this stadium.
Martin Maldonado. Broken bat, ground ball, hit up the middle, taken there by Diaz. Very good play to his left, and a 1-2-3 for Tyler Lyons sends us to inning number 7. It's a 2-1 Cardinals lead. At the 87th All-Star Game presented by MasterCard. That'll be this Tuesday on Fox from San Diego, and coverage begins at 6:30. One of the real key plays in this ball game was Greg Garcia with a diving stop. That was with the bases loaded. Flores up back in the third. Garcia leads it off here in the 7th inning. Cardinals hit a home run. It's the Gateway Honda home run inning. Those dealers will donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
And we're happy Barnes is out of there, and it'll be Carlos Torres, signed with Milwaukee. He's a free agent on April the 2nd. He's also pitched in the American League with the White Sox, National League with Colorado, and most recently, the last 3 years with the Mets.
The strike to Garcia. Hit out of play, no balls, 2 strikes. Last Cardinal hit was the infield hit, snuck under the glove of Carter back in the 3rd inning by Grichuk. They've received a couple of walks in that time. Both clubs with 4 hits. Both have stranded 7, no errors in this game, and a 2-1 Cardinals lead. Solo home run by Johnny Peralta back in the 2nd inning. And Grichuk with that infield hit to score. Stephen Piscotty, who tripled. And it's 2-1. Slow roller hit to the right side. Torres to Carter at first for the out.
I've seen Carlos pitch well against St. Louis when he was with the Mets. He had an emergency start one time and a couple long relief outings. So far, the Milwaukee bullpen has been perfect. 7 up, 7 down.
But 4 innings out of Anderson here today. And a slider to the backstop for ball 1. This is Aledmys Diaz, who has walked. He's flied to center, also flied out to right. Very good play on that slow roller on the broken bat, hit by Maldonado to end the 6th by Aledmys Diaz, ranging to his left. I was asked earlier today what happens with those broken bats, and many times they're thrown out, and the clubs will use those for charities or auctions. Could be a theme related auction with their own club or some of the charities around town, and a player will sign it. There's a fly ball lifted into left. July 24th, 12,000 kids 15 and under entering with a ticket receive their own limited edition Cardinals Build-A-Bear. More information at cardinals.com/promotions. Also, they're authenticated by Major League Baseball, so if you're at the game or favorite player breaks a bat, just go to the Cardinals Authentic shop and they'll have that bat for you. There's a big difference now between the ash bats and the maple bats. Maple is slightly heavier. You talk to the players, they feel that maple is less forgiving because of the tightness within the grain of the bat. As Piscotty pops it foul.
The maples are the ones that shatter. Used to be white ash was the only wood that was used in Major League bats. I remember Bob Watson. We always heard that hickory is a hard wood.
Back to Torres. And a 1-2-3-7. And it's time to stretch here in Milwaukee. Cardinals leading 2-1. Skyler Lyons as he went 1, 2, 3 in the bottom of the 6th. Hernan Perez will be the pinch hitter. So Perez, and then the top of the lineup, VR and Scooter Gennett.
I was going to say about the Hickory Wood, Bob Watson told me he had to talk to some people about making him hickory bat. He said the problem was they couldn't make one that was less than like 48 ounces.
Right. That's one of the issues with maple. It's a little bit heavier than that ash bat. It's scary though when you see those shatter.
Well, today's players just, they want the thin handle, they want lightweight, and that combination just, you hit a ball in the wrong spot and it'll just shatter.
Are you a Ghostbusters fan?
Oh yes, but I don't think I'm going to see the new version with the girls.
It's a Ghostbusters day.
Yeah, we saw them, some of the promotional things they did before the game, but haven't seen really how the crowd has gotten involved. There they are. You know, they're making a new version of the Ghostbusters.
So I hear.
With women, you know.
13 strikeouts for the Cardinals today. 2 for Lyons. Nasty breaking ball there. 11 for the starter Martinez.
Backdoor breaking ball there, and just hitter, right-hand hitter gives up on it, and it looks outside, and then it breaks to the corner. Lyons has retired all 4 batters he's faced. I think maybe with VR's speed and the major league leader in stolen bases, he's got 2 here today. That's 31. I wonder if bunts are part of his repertoire.
He has 17 infield hits and knocks this in the air out to left center. This will be Pham who makes the catch.
Like an odd approach to it, but part of that was because of the sun. See, they got the sunglasses. Watch him, he kind of goes back on it, but he's a little bit sideways, so he's not looking into the dead sun. As long as it comes down in his glove, so be it.
Remember the play he had a couple weekends ago in Seattle where he actually took off the hat and made the catch.
Yes.
Good curveball again.
We had never seen that, and he said the reason he did that was because earlier in the year he was hit by a fly ball that he lost in the sun. So he got a little creative and used his hat to help shield his eyes from the sun.
Hey, whatever it takes.
Hey, you can do whatever you want as long as you catch it.
Got to catch it.
And nobody's going to criticize. Our good friend Andy Van Slyke and the late Bob Forsch. Andy used to have that, was one of the first that would kind of snatch at a ball. And Bob Forsch told him, he said, Andy, that's fine, but if you ever miss it, don't come back to the dugout. And he missed one in Chicago. Bob Forsch met him at the top step.
14 strikeouts for the Brewers in their lineup today. Lyons looks sharp. Blaine Boyer, former roommate Adam Wainwright when they were in the minor leagues in Atlanta. We saw him pitch last weekend, and he gave up a mighty blast to Stephen Piscotty. Here it is as we flash back, bases loaded. This wound up in Big Mac land, and the Cardinals would need every run in that game. They'd win it 9-8, and that was the highlight of that afternoon. Stephen Piscotty with a grand slam.
Dan, wasn't that the first batter he faced?
It was.
And show you how efficient he's been. He's retired 22 of the 33 first batters. That's a real key stat for a reliever coming in, particularly if there's runners on base. And he allowed all 3 of those runners to score on the Piscotty home run.
Fastball taken low and away by Randal Grichuk. RBI single back in the third. Czerszewski called to the pen. At the age of 42, this date in baseball history, 1948, Satchel Paige made his big league debut. Signed by Bill Veeck, pitched for Cleveland, and made his debut in this date in baseball history.
And Dan, that's what, you know, as far as they could discover his age was, but many people believed he was much older than that.
Pretty amazing. He pitched for the Indians, then 3 years in St. Louis with the Browns. Returned basically barnstorming in the minor leagues. Resurfaced in the majors at age 59. Eye pop up off the bat of Grichuk. And Page was the first African-American pitcher to pitch in the World Series. He's in baseball's Hall of Fame.
Whitey Herzog saw him with the Kansas City Monarchs, and he said it was just unbelievable, his pinpoint control. And then when I was at Tulsa in the Cardinal minor league system, he was supposedly a pitching coach, designated pitching coach, but all he did was hang out with the grounds crew and never talked to any of the players.
Did you ever talk to him at all?
No, he really just, you know, kept to himself, and you know, I'd love to have talked to him, because some of the stories that I heard from Buck O'Neill when they were roommates in the Negro Leagues. But quite the character.
No doubt. He used to say that age is a question of mind over matter. And he lived it. As Peralta grounds out, he had homered back in the second inning. This bullpen of the Brewers has been exceptional here today.
11 for 11, right?
That's right. What's on Tap is presented by Budweiser, Mike Leake, and Guerra. Coverage begins at 12:30 tomorrow in the Budweiser What's on Tap.
In the 8th inning, so we still got plenty of time to go, but you almost want to see the Cardinals add on, but you also want to see Lions continue to pitch.
Age is a question of mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. Great Satchel Paige. We have so much history in St. Louis, and as I mentioned, he played for the Browns, and obviously the Cardinals with their extensive history that we are so lucky and fortunate to have an ownership group, and the one leading the way, and Bill DeWitt Jr. has such an extensive history because of his father and their family celebrating 100 years of being involved in Major League Baseball this year.
And of course, if you go through the Cardinals Hall of Fame Museum, you'll see a lot of that history, and some people say it's the closest, the best Hall of Fame outside of Cooperstown. So much memorabilia in there, purchased from the DeWitt family and then on loan.
There's a base hit by Molina. Out to right center, all the way to the wall. Molina with his 32nd double in his career against the Milwaukee Brewers. That's the Cardinals' first hit since all the way back in the third.
It's 1 for 2. He had a couple walks, and now he's got a base hit. So that's the first hit off the bullpen. First hit in 12 batters. Bowman is throwing in the Cardinal bullpen. Boy, is he getting increased exposure. th double this year for Yadi, and like you said, it was a 32 against Milwaukee.
It's a big run out there. It's a 2-1 game.
Gyorko hit a double his first time up. This would be a meaningful one if he could send Yadi home. And we talked about all the missed opportunities. The Cardinals stranded 7 through the first 4 innings. They left 13 on last night in a 1-run game.
Here's a 1-1 pitch. Molina, the runner at second base. 1-2. And that's hit out of play.
Cardinals statistically, the 7th game or later, they've scored 157 runs. That's first in the major leagues. The problem has been St. Louis pitching in the 7th inning of later has given up 107 runs. And the Cardinals have really had a hard time this year winning 1-run games.
1-2 pitch. Taken just a bit low. 2-2. See if Gyorko can't drive him in. Double off the wall and right. Struck out and grounded out. Now he wants to talk to Maldonado. How are the bees on the wall and right, I wonder? Are they still there? More gathering? Are they gone? Because as you know, Al, once the queen bee is gone, they're out of here. See, now if you're sitting there, I would think that that is not maybe the most comfortable experience at the ballpark that you can have.
The bees aren't going to hurt you.
You're a better man than I. A delay of 9 minutes. Brown's crew had to get the bees off the fence. The 2-2 spoiled by Gyorko.
Most of Gyorko's damage this year has been on the road.
The 2-2 spoiled again. That's how it all started. Right before our first pitch.
What was spilled on that railing to attract them.
To find out and put it in your seat. There's a broken bat and a foul ball, and that's your maple bat right there. Good example of what happens. Just shattered.
You can see how dangerous those sharp push as the bat could be. Some weapon in his hand there. Remember, you know, a lot of the catchers now have that extension to their mask that covers their throat area. And see that's part of the mask there that comes all the way down to protect the throat. Or the old mask didn't have that.
2-2 is ripped into center field. It drops in for a hit. Here comes Yadi. Throw to the plate is not in time. Jerko drives in the run to make it a 3-1 St. Louis lead. The second hit today by Jedd Gyorko. Good at bat. 3-1. St. Louis Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Bud Light Lime and by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. Tailgating outside. It has turned out to be a gorgeous afternoon, and what a job here by Tyler Lyons thus far for the Cardinals. By the way, that was a 9-pitch at bat by Gyorko as he singles in Molina to make it 3-1.
And as you said, that was a big insurance run out there. Tyler Lyons has been perfect. He struck out 3 in his 2 innings of work.
You talked about all the missed opportunities. The Cardinals had been 3 for 21 with runners in scoring position the last 2 games entering that at bat.
Wow.
So 2-out single brings in Molina, 2-run lead, and it's Braun, Kreider, Nieuwenhuis. Here in the bottom of the 8th, 3-1 St. Louis.
And Bowman continues to throw, but the way Lyons is pitching, and we always knew that starter, long man, that he's very capable of retiring right-handed batters.
Al, he's had 14 pitches to get 6 outs. That's efficient, and that one catches Molina.
And with 3 strikeouts. Conroy, assistant trainer, will go out and talk to him. He's waving him off, but sometimes those, you see the shin guards there, but sometimes they'll catch get underneath those pads, foul it off right into the knee.
Ouch.
I was talking about, you know, how they have the hockey mask, how it comes all the way down and kind of protects the neck area. Well, the old mask did not do that. You know, the old mask, it was just around the face, and a shattered bat came back and hit Steve Yeager in the throat.
Oh, yeah.
And so then he started developing where they started putting a piece of stiff leather that would be at the bottom of the mast to protect that area.
How about Tyler Lyons and the job that he's done? He strikes out Ryan Braun, his third of the day, and that is 15 strikeouts in this lineup. Power Stats brought to you by Kubota. As Chris Kreider digs in, he is struck out. He is walked, was hit by a pitch. Bryant, Arenado, and Carter, then Duvall, home run leaders in the National League. I misspoke. That's 4 strikeouts, by the way, for Tyler Lyons, but 15 total in the lineup for Milwaukee.
They're just fooled by that breaking pitch so much. And the way Carter, big and strong as he is, you know, it's good you got that insurance run.
Last time the Cardinals were this high in strikeouts, you have to go back to September 14th of 2014. They struck out 16 Rockies that night. But that's probably with expanded rosters. You might be seeing some of the AAA players.
Sure.
This is the middle of the season, and they've got 15 of them.
And you're also talking about just 2 pitchers.
Right.
Martinez tied his career high with 11, and then Tyler Lyons has struck out 4 of the 7 batters he's faced.
So the question becomes, how far can you go with Tyler Lyons? Is the idea now that he just gets you through the 8th inning and then turn it over to Seung-Hwan Oh, or if it's efficient enough, do you feel comfortable with the bottom of the lineup coming up and stick with Tyler?
You know, I'd be very there he walks, as the Cardinals are not going to let Carter beat him in this game. He had 2 solo shots yesterday. And I would be very comfortable to see him finish this game.
It's 5 walks issued by the Cardinals, first by Lyons. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Cardinals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Pitcher spot, Lyons spot, is due up second.
So it makes you think they'd pinch hit and then go to their bullpen for the night.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what they'll do. Of course, he's got to get through this 8th inning to make it for us to even debate it.
Right. Cardinals would love the double play here. Nieuwenhuis, though, can run pretty well. There's strike 1.
Just notice the home plate umpire. You know, they doesn't have a hockey mask, but he has that extended flap below his mask to protect his neck area.
The umpires used to have that big protective gear that they put their arm through. As padding, big foam padding that they would have behind the plate.
That was in the American League. American League used the big pillow, but the National League always used the chest protector that's inside their shirt. You know, the difference, Dan, was it used to say that the American League, they called a much higher strike zone because they really physically couldn't get down because of that big chest protector they wore on the outside.
It would make sense.
Yeah, and then the National League guys, they could get much closer, kind of duck down behind the catcher, and had a tendency to be more of a low ball league.
The 2-1 pitch. Fastball taken low, 3-1.
Yachty gonna get Tyler dialed back into the strike zone. We saw what a walk in the 9th inning could do in last night's ball game. Really nice walked and eventually came around and scored the winning run. 2-run game. They're facing the tying run at the plate right now. Potential tying run. Don't walk it.
3 balls, 1 strike. Kirk Nieuwenhuis at the plate. Short lead at first. Breaking ball, and he just missed it. So back-to-back walks. To be pretty good. Let's take a look. And maybe the corner, number 5 there on that graphic.
So much for Lions finishing this ball game. He made a call to bullpen, and Bowman's coming in.
So Bowman comes on. There's Chevy called to the pen. .28 appearances now for Bowman. He pitched an inning and a third last night. Really interesting move here. You know, you've got Manus. You think about potentially Broxton. You know about Trevor Rosenthal unavailable. And so they go with Bowman. And you've talked about it a lot the last week or so. The high leverage situations are going to Bowman more and more and more. And this is a big one here with the All-Star coming up.
Yeah, no doubt about it, especially with him going an inning to third last night. We're seeing this back-to-back and really pressure situations. Lucroy is going to pinch in here with 2 men on and just 1 out.
First pitch is strike.
Roy is 0 for 2 in facing Bowman. Remember, he's a ground ball specialist. High percentage, over 60%.
0-2.
They're going to hit into ground ball. 63.5% of the time. That's 5th best in National League relievers, but we're seeing more and more of these situations that had Manus's name on it the last 3 years being turned over to Bowman, and Manus almost non-existent. Spoiled that pitch.
Haven't seen Manus still or since the 4th of July.
Now, in fairness, Manus has not, had the same type of season and hasn't been as successful. But when you don't use him, it's hard to, for him to be pinpoint and get that control and release point to get his ground balls.
Here's the 0-2 pitch to Lucroy. Pulled foul.
National League All-Star for the 2nd time. Lucroy.
Runners at first and second. That's Carter at second base. Nieuwenhuis, your runner at first. 0-2 pitch.
Pretty good, just a little off the plate. Boy, this year has hit .344, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs against St. Louis.
Just a good player, isn't he?
Yeah. He's hit .336 in his last 35 games. And really has developed into a top-notch defender and offensive player at the catcher position. So far in this bat, he's not going to swing at a ball that's not out of the strike zone.
And you talk about that's why he's a very good, everyday, tough out. His understanding of the strike zone. You don't see him chase very often. 2 balls, 2 strikes with 2 runners on. 1 out here in the 8th. There's your double play ball. Out there on the first, double play. Bowman gets Lucroy to ground into a 6-4-3 double play. The pen, Michael Blazek is the new pitcher. 33rd appearance. He was part of the John Axford deal a couple of years ago for the Cardinals. Really a tenuous situation for the Cardinals bullpen because Seung-Hwan Oh had pitched in 5 of the last 7 games, 3 straight. So you think that he's more than likely unavailable. So Broxton is your closer, and that's why you would think, not necessarily do we know for sure, but you would think why Bowman was brought in that spot.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, you're looking for a ground ball, and he got the ground ball double play, did a great job. And we're just saying that, you know, we're seeing those leverage situations right now that, you know, was used to have Seth Maness's name on it, and with all the use of O, you know, Mike Matheny, when Rosenthal was demoted from closer, said that, you know, Broxton, Segras, and O were going to have different opportunities to close.
In the air, out to center field. This is well hit. This ball is gone. It's a home run, Tommy Pham. Pham makes makes it a 4-1 St. Louis lead.
Yeah, that's his third home run he's hit against Milwaukee. He had a 2-home run game against them last season. Came in batting .429 against Milwaukee pitching, and he gives the Cardinals another big insurance run. Walker is now the douser. Michael Blazek, he got that breaking ball and took it center field all the way. Didn't have a lot to spare, but over the wall, it's a home run.
Here's Colton Wong. Wong, the pinch hitter. Cardinals do have Holiday on their bench, but with his ankle situation, there's a look at Matt. Wouldn't think that they'd have to use him right now in a 4-1 lead. Holiday, by the way, is only 28 hits shy of 2,000. So he's closing in on a pretty historical mark. There's 278 players that have had 2,000 hits, 29 that have had 3,000, including Derek Jeter. Did that 5 years ago today with a home run. Ichiro will come into St. Louis, and as we start play today, he's 10 hits shy of 3,000.
Not getting them as quick as we were hoping.
Would have loved to have seen history, or at least the potential of it, in St. Louis. But with Craig Garcia up, it leads to some of the top defensive plays we have seen. He's been involved in both. This one saves a couple of runs. Takes a hit away, and a great stretch by Jerko.
Very nice play at both ends and under pressure situations.
And then this one with Lucroy up, turns the double play. 6-4-3. Showing bunt. It's in the air, and it's strike one.
You got to think guys like Wong and Garcia may have played with Blazek. I mentioned we didn't see him a lot in St. Louis, but we saw him kind of have a different type breaking ball. Good fastball, but the breaking ball kind of was very intriguing. When he throws a good one.
That one was not the intriguing one.
No. That was the hanger. Just bad enough. It's okay because it stayed high and he didn't swing at it.
Well, you're right, Al. Pham played with Michael Blazek at AA Springfield back in 2011. 1-1 the count on Garcia. Wong is your runner at first base. He is running. Foul back.
Cardinals pretty much station to station, and it just looks good when you put a man in motion.
I don't know if you feel this way, but when I watch Colton Wong, and since the pickoff at the World Series, sometimes I get the impression he's
Tentative.
just a little bit.
Yeah.
Not all the time.
And to be a really good base stealer, you almost have to have a defiant attitude and arrogance when you're on the base pass, and just defy anybody to throw you out.
He's got the speed. There's no doubt.
He's got the speed, but he doesn't have, you know, the instincts or that, you know, what it is. A lot of times you're afraid to make a mistake. When you're afraid to make a mistake, you're going to make more.
2-2. I look at Diaz and how aggressive he's become defensively after the rough start that he had to his season on the field.
And think about it, when you're aggressive in the field, most of the time you're going to get a much better hop. When you lay back on a ball or let the ball play you, that's when errors come. So always be aggressive is a good plan, you know, with under control.
See if he's running on 3-2. Nobody out. Cardinals leading 4-1. Blazek thinking the same thing.
Carter holding Wong on. You can see he pull the ball and a lot of hitting room on the right side.
There goes Wong. Pitch is taken for a ball. So Blazek has come in, allowed the home run to Pham. Wong and Garcia have reached. 2 on, nobody out. And Aledmys Diaz will be the hitter.
There's our pitching coach, Derek Johnson, who he said was a left-handed pitcher. Eastern Illinois University coaching there and also then at Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt turned into just a powerhouse of college baseball.
Yeah, and so he's had a lot of successful guys that he had there. Of course, Pat Murphy was at Notre Dame and then Arizona State. Council played for Pat Murphy as bench coach. So we're saying giving some college people, guys that never played professionally, giving them some chance. Notice also that Derek Johnson wrote a book on pitching.
So 2 on and nobody out. Here's Aledmys Diaz. He's fly to center, right and left, and also walked in the 4th. A few times we've seen Maldonado, instead of blocking the ball, he's got those real nice hands and just picks it behind the plate.
Looks good when you pick it, but when you don't,
sometimes that ball stays down and goes right through you.
Sneaks on through and merry-go-round on the bases.
2-0. Right-hander begins to throw in the Brewers' pen.
And Blazek having trouble throwing strikes.
The 2-0. And Diaz hits a fly ball out to left field. This ball is gone! 3-run homer, Aledmys Diaz, the All-Star, with lucky number 13 on the year. And the Cardinals have busted this game wide open. It's now a 7-1 St. Louis lead.
And padding his resume for the All-Star game. 13 home runs, 48 RBIs for the rookie shortstop. First rookie to go to the All-Star game since a guy named Pujols.
A tough inning for Blazek. And 6 is a serious number. Get any size coffee, fountain, frozen drink tomorrow, just 50 cents at your local On the Run. They'll be busy tomorrow. Thanks to Diaz and Pham and the rest of the crew. Use the On the Run app to find your nearest store. You earned it. is the new pitcher for the Milwaukee Brewers. Cardinals have opened up a pretty big lead here. With 4 runs in the top of the 9th, it's now 7-1. Stephen Piscotty will be the hitter. Jonathan Broxton, last time that he had a save was in 2014, so not a save situation anymore. He sits and Maness starts to throw.
Martinez, the Cardinals saw him on Sunday when he pitched an inning, a couple of hits, and earned run there, ball, a base on ball, and a strikeout. He was with the Rays, made 3 appearances with Tampa Bay. Had a 2.45 ERA and then designated for assignment on May the 8th. He was pitched with Florida, the White Sox, Tampa Bay, and now here in Milwaukee.
Here's a 1-1 pitch to Piscotty. Cardinals have out hit the Brewers 8-4 in this game and lead it 7-1. Neither side has committed an error. Brewers have left 8 on, the Cardinals 7. 2-1 pitch to Piscotty. And Steven puts a charge in this one. Deep left, and it's off the wall. Stephen Piscotty with a double. That's his 22nd this year.
Cardinals have hit 3 home runs in this game, and Piscotty missed one by a couple feet. He's got a triple and now a double in this game. Cardinals have seen great pitching from Martinez and also their bullpen. And there you see the ball down and in, drops a bat head by inches from that one going out.
You know, the Cardinals last year had one player that had 13 or more home runs. That was Johnny Peralta. This season they have 4 with that home run moments ago by Diaz. Moss, Carpenter, Holiday, and now Aledmys Diaz. What's pretty amazing when you think about shortstops in Cardinals history, as great as Renteria was as an offensive player. That is a fair ball, and Grichuk is the first out. Prior to the 2014 season, St. Louis never had a shortstop who had 13 before the All-Star break. Since that time, it's happened every year. Peralta twice, now Diaz.
Yeah, and I think Diaz is going to be a fixture at shortstop, and I think we're going to really enjoy him seeing. You know, when Peralta signed his free agent contract, a lot of people projected that year 3 or 4 he'd be playing a different position. That would also kind of coincided with the free agent contract that Diaz signed 4 years ago, or 3 years ago now, a 4-year contract.
Here's Peralta at the plate. Johnny homered back in the 2nd inning. One ball, 1 strike on Peralta. A 7-1 St. Louis lead. Runner at second base is Piscotty. That's to the backstop and a wild pitch. Not much that Maldonado could do except try to throw his body in front of that.
Look at how far off to the side that was, and then hit the dirt, kind of spun backwards.
The 2-1 pitch. This is the 12th time this season the Cardinals have had 3 home runs in a game. All of last year was 9.
I was going to say, we used to root for 3 home runs a week.
Infield is drawn in at a 3-1 pitch. Three and 2.
Cards up by 6. Got the infield in, trying to cut that 7th run off.
3-2 pitch with Piscotty at third. Fouled back by Johnny Peralta. Maine is now just standing out on the mound in the Cardinals bullpen. He's plenty loose and warmed up.
Shortstop and third baseman walking over, talking to each other.
Three-two pitch and a fly ball that's lifted into right. Piscotty will draw the throw and stays put at third. When you think about the 9-game homestand the Cardinals just finished up, they had a total of 8 home runs, and already the 2 games in this series with 4. This will be a major league debut for Alberto Rosario. 11 years in the minor leagues. Been trying to get to this moment. Congratulations to Alberto Rosario.
And a lopsided game, but a special moment for Alberto. 11 years, boy. How many bus rides and rotten meals in clubhouses and fast food stations and everything else, but has to realize his dream.
He'd probably tell you right now it was all worth it.
And he probably would tell us that once his feet touch the ground. Dan, you wouldn't be real far off saying what he's already earned this last week here in the big league level. Probably would surpass, half his 11 years in salary.
2-0 pitch. 2-1. Known more as a catch and throw type player. Plus defensively, he's thrown out over 40% of base stealers in the minor leagues.
Yeah, both not 42% this year and 42% in his career would be base stealers.
3-1.
Join history. First at bat, got a favorable count. Let it rip.
And it's a single into right. Rosario, a base hit. And as he goes down the line, put up his right hand in the air. 11 years in the minor leagues, it was all worth it. And he drives in an RBI.
You could just see that. Happy, and you're right. I don't think he even probably didn't realize it. Solid base hit up here, and the right arm went up. And look at the bench. But the crowd's into it too, as majority of this crowd that stuck around are all red, wearing red. Not only does he get his first hit, but his first RBI. Now see if he can get a run scored.
Great moment. 8-1 Cardinals. Here's Jerko. At the time, it was a huge 9-pitch at bat with 2 outs and a runner at second, and a 2-1 lead for the Cardinals. His single made it 3-1. Cardinals have picked up 5 in this inning. 10 hits, and they lead it 8-1. Man, do you pull for those guys or what?
Oh, no doubt. You know, there's probably some guys on the Dominicans on the Brewers side that silently were probably pulling 4 and 2 in a lopsided game.
Many of these players, whether you're with the Cardinals or with the Brewers, they all know each other for the most part, or the story is told before games. Yeah, we've got this guy. He's been in the minor leagues for 11 years. He's backing up Yadier Molina. Probably won't see him, but yeah, you might. So they've got an understanding.
Sure. A nice gesture from Mike Matheny, allowing him to have that opportunity.
1-2 pitch. Taken for a ball.
And assume that he's going to stay in the game and catch. Was hitting in Yadi's spot, so.
The 2-2 pitch. Jerko strikes out, but the Cardinals pick up 5 runs, highlighted by Alberto Rosario, first major league hit, and he drives in a run. For the Cardinals, his battery mate Alberto Rosario behind the plate. 18th appearance for Seth, the high ERA. It's been a tough year. Still trying to get the final 3 outs of this game 2 of this 3-game weekend series.
Yeah, he hasn't pitched since July the 4th. There you see Rosario back behind the plate, but Manus missed 32 games with the elbow tendonitis, inflammation. And none of us forget, but Seth Manus has been a big part of the Cardinals' success ever since he showed up in 2013.
Hit the other way, and it's 0-2.
Manus has induced 41 double plays. That ties for first in major leagues for the relievers from 2013 to 16.
Doesn't get the call. 1-2.
Had a rough spring, just couldn't get the ball down, wasn't getting his ground ball double plays, and got sent down, but then they found the inflammation, and he's had very few chances really to kind of get into a groove. Somewhere you kind of think that given ample opportunities, he'll be an effective reliever again.
Flores has struck out, grounded out, and flied out. 0 for 3 today. And a high fly ball lifted into deep right center field. Who wants it? And the catch is made by Grichuk. Let's turn to our Budweiser player of the game, Carlos Martinez. Only 5 innings, but 11 strikeouts along the way. Did walk 4, gave up a run, only 4 hits. He's your Budweiser player of the game.
And he also, for the first time in quite a few starts, he got good relief work behind him, and his team scored him some runs.
Martin Maldonado get the start today behind the plate. 1 out, nobody on, and a 1-0 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. On the air tomorrow at 12:30, final game before the All-Star break. Mike Leake and Junior Guerra. Guerra 6-1, Leake 5-7. The Cardinals then do not return to action until Friday night. Marlins will be in town as we begin the celebration of the 2006 championship team. The 1-2 pitch. It's not giving Manus that call on that inside portion of the plate here in this inning. There's your ground ball hit to short. Aledmys Diaz. 2 down. Mike Leake, by the way, 12 career starts against Milwaukee. Would be his 9th start at this ballpark. He is 3-4 with an ERA over 4 in his career against the Brew Crew. Andy Wilkins will be the hitter, and there's a look at Mike.
Got to get him back in the groove, don't we?
Yep.
See a lot of ground balls from Mike Leake. Get him back there and play error-free behind him, which hasn't always been the case.
If the Cardinals would get a strikeout, it'd be the 10th time in franchise history to rack up this many, which would be 16 in a 9-inning game.
Ted Barrett, the last pitch, is going to have that tight strike zone.
The 1-2 ground ball hit to first. Manus to the bag, and the Cardinals have an 8-1 win here in game number 2. A lot of good things in this ball game.
Absolutely. Great starting pitching from Martinez. The bullpen was outstanding. The Cardinals had a lot of timely hitting. They had the 3 home runs. They score 8 runs. When they do that, it's going to be a victory. And we need 1 more tomorrow to close out this first half.
So the rubber game tomorrow on the air 12:30. Post-game show is coming up. Started with Bees, ends with a win. 8-1 the final.